2 in a row has eluded the Senators all season, but a big chance for back-to-back wins this afternoon would move them up in the division and take Southern Maryland out of last place for the first time in 2 weeks. While on the other side, the DC Grays look to bounce back and solidify their place in the South with playoffs rapidly approaching. So glad you can join us, Cody Wagner, alongside Landon Zernhelt from Regency Furniture Stadium. And Landon, that's been the trouble for Southern Maryland to this point in the year. They're still yet to win 2 straight games.
Yeah, it's been, like you said, an issue all year. They can get it done in one, and just comes down to the lack in pitching. If you would ask me, just you run out of arms. Everybody, all your starters are tired, or your bullpen's tired. It just makes it difficult.
And you're exactly right, Landon. They've certainly looked great at times. Games they have won, especially the one last night, which was 3-0 over the Crop Dusters, 3-1 rather, over Crop Dusters baseball. They looked great in that one, but it's been all about trying to string things together. On the ground, back up the middle, Smolinski unable to get there and through the hole for a base knock. James Lehman, the leadoff batter, aboard first base. That hands it off to Matt Coella, the shortstop this afternoon out of Lafayette College so far this year for the Grays, batting .323. Last night in the loss to the Big Train, he had a pretty solid game himself, was 1 for 3 and reached on balls once. Senators sit just a half game back of the DC Grays. Great glove by Bunch. Throw to second, and they'll turn 2.
What a play by the pitcher to get his glove in front of it. Came back at him hot.
A tough play, but able to handle it as Wyatt Bunch on the hill.
Let's not forget about the play by Smolinski at second, also to swing it to first to get the second.
Wyatt Bunch has made just 1 start on the year for Southern Maryland. Allowed 2 earned across 5 innings of work against Metro South County last Saturday. Gets the start again this Saturday. A huge confidence-boosting double play for Wyatt Bunches. He fills up the zone to Lavagna. The 0-2 misses away. Lavagna will patrol right field today for DC. A lot of these players, of course, local guys, such as Lavagna from Alexandria, Virginia. A wave and a miss set, strike 3. 3 up, 3 down for Wyatt Bunch. How about that for a start to the ball game? Senators bats due up for the first time this afternoon on the other side. Glad to have you back from Waldorf. Say hello to perhaps the hottest hitter on this team as of recent in Logan Tribble. Didn't play last night against the Crop Dusters, but was 2 of 5 last time he played at home with an RBI double. Has been great recently for the Senators. Skied in the infield. Sims, the catcher, underneath. He won't be able to make the grab. Staring straight up into the sun. No doubt a tough play for Sims. Tribble, the Florida native, recognized as the 2A State Player of the Year in high school while batting .453. A standout high school player, as a number of these college guys are, Landon.
Yes, and something to note for your Senators that they got changed up today is they don't have Coach Scott Middleton manning third base. They have two different coaches down the first and second base line, than the first and third base line than they usually do.
Tribble goes down on strikes for his first at-bat of the game. Brings up the two-hitter Nathan Brewer. Stayed in his home state to play college ball for Middle Tennessee. As a redshirt freshman this year, batted .188. But man, has he been perhaps the most reliable option for Scott Middleton throughout this year. Hitting .337 on the campaign. Has a pretty great ability to work the walk. 13 on the season for Brewer. And also one heck of a left fielder. The 1-2 offering. Waved at, missed for strike 3. The first two batters Sill sees, he sets down on strikes. Carter Groen to the plate, but first we should tell you something about the starter for the Grays, Michael Sills. The senior out of Wofford College. Has pitched in 4 games to this point. Made 1 start. Last time he pitched was June 29th against the Aces. Gets the start a week later against the Senators. Received the win in that game. And was perhaps his best performance on the year. And how about Carter Groen? Hit a homer yesterday, which helped lead the Senators to victory. In fact, leads the league in home runs with 8. Swings through strike number 3. Sills strikes out the side and gives it back over to his bats on the other side. 4-5-6, due up. Back from Waldorf, Cody Wagner alongside Landon Zernhelt to lead off the top of two is Joey Wilga, the first baseman this afternoon for DC. And recently for Southern Maryland, there have been some disappointing losses, especially this past Tuesday, the loss at the hands of the Gaithersburg Giants. Landon, it was a game that the Senators led at one point 4-2, headed into the top of 8. They tied it in that inning. A base knock for Joey Wilga. And then in the 9th, the Gaithersburg Giants ultimately took the lead and held on to that for the win. And it's exactly what you said. The Senators have gotten good starts. It was 5 innings, allowing 2 runs on the arm of Mark Lubier. But after that, they really struggled in the bullpen.
Yes, it's been a very, very major problem for the Senators so far this year is just that bullpen.
Runner on first is Wilga. Up for the first time today is Manoah Chapman. Makes the trip across the United States to play for the DC Grays from San Diego, California. Chapman has played in 18 games this year. 182 batting average, but has been a very reliable option defensively for the Grays. Came in off the bench yesterday, was 0 for 1 in his only at-bat. Line drive to left center. Tribble calls for it. Catch made, 1 gone. Ellis Reed up to the dish out of North Carolina A&T, the sophomore for that squad. First pitch is in for a strike. The DC Grays have really struggled as of recent, losing their last 3 games to the Crop Dusters, T-Bolts, then last night the Big Train. And you thought that maybe that break for the 4th of July would perhaps take away some of that losing momentum and get them back in a better mind state, but they really had a tough time against Bethesda yesterday. Big cut and a miss at strike 3. Second punch out this afternoon for Wyatt Bunch. And he's allowed a leadoff single in both innings, but hasn't seemed to matter. Brings up Brady Steinert in the DH spot today for DC. Steinert, one of the many guys that was hitless in the 7-1 loss last night. Hitting .284 to this point. Grounder left side. Guy makes the diving stop. Returns to his feet. My goodness. What a play to end the inning.
Guy has been hot on the infield here recently, folks. He has made multiple diving plays like that in multiple of the previous games.
Wyatt Bunch looking good through 2. 4-5-6 up for your Senators. Mikey Guy will lead off the bottom of 2 for Southern Maryland. Just announced over the loudspeaker a moment ago the All-Stars for Southern Maryland, including Carter Groen, Nathan Brewer, and Nate McHugh as far as the batters. On the pitching side, it was Davis Rivers and Matt Hoover getting the call to go to the All-Star game. And you really got to feel good for a guy like Carter Groen, who has really turned his season around. Early in the year was hitting in the high 200s, not bad by any means, but as of late has really turned it on. Batter of the week last week for Southern Maryland with 3 home runs and a .579 batting average. The 0-2 offering inside a ball. Softball day at the park. Of course, commemorating the newest addition to the Southern Maryland Senators youth program in the softball team. Good to see that expansion to the a little bit smaller softball field as well. Pitch will run in and hit Mikey Guy. Disappointing for Sills, who had him on the ropes at 0-2. Misses with a pitch, then runs in and hits Guy. Hands it off to Owen DeShazo, the center fielder.
Now batting, the designated hitter, number 12, Owen DeShazo.
Plays college ball for Boston College, where his mother, Carrie Curran DeShazo, played basketball and graduated in 1994. A school that his family is very familiar with. Squares to bunt, unable to make contact. Both starters have looked pretty good to this point. Sun really beaten down in Waldorf. In the mid-90s, throw to first. They got him. The snap throw from Sills nabs Mikey Guy. Gray's dugout loving it. Popped into foul ground and unplayable.
And both dugouts really looking live here today, early in the game compared to the most games. Most games, It's when the game starts getting close is when these dugouts start going back and forth with each other, but they're really getting it started early here today.
I mean, it seems both pitchers are really on this afternoon as he strikes out yet another. The fourth punch-out victim this afternoon for the Senators. Hands it off to Ty Smolinski, who has really started to get accustomed to this level play at the college level. Just graduated from Bellevue High School this spring in Gretna, Nebraska. Staying near his home state, will play college ball for Kansas State. How about Michael Sills? He is finding the zone with nearly every pitch.
He is firing right now. 4 out of 5 Ks.
Smolinski fights it off.
And he's got himself in an 0-2 count.
12 strikeouts on the season for Smolinski. And both these benches so into this game, they really know how important this is. A Senators win moves them at least ahead of the Grays, and depending on the result for Metro South County, can also move them up ahead of the Braves. So a huge game this afternoon for Southern Maryland, and a win has major implications in the South Divisional standings. Rolled foul yet again. And you got to give some credit to this coaching staff for how Sills has looked early in this game. Fly ball to left, and it's hauled in by Aruco. 3 up, 3 down for the Senators. That's how it's been on both sides to this point in the game. Grays coming back up in a moment. Anthony Rucco will be headed into his sophomore year at Winthrop University. Last time he played was on July 2nd against the T-Bolts. The last game prior to that 2-day break. Glad to be back playing baseball in Waldorf. The 1-0 offering. Senators have had great starts as of recent. To add on to that, it was Matt Hoover yesterday who went 5 1/3, allowing just 1 run. From there, the Senators bullpen locked it down, which was a welcome change. Liner to second. Routine grab for Smolinski. 1 away.
Now batting number 28, Cameron Sims.
First AB this afternoon for Cameron Sims, the catcher for DC. Senators bullpen actively cheering on their guy, Wyatt Bunch. He's allowed 2 hits to this point. Grounder right side. Willis fields it, makes the flip to Bunch. 2 down. Lineup flips over for DC, which brings up James Lehman. Singled back in the first before he was ultimately out on a double play from Matt Coella. Lehman with a chance to get something going late in the third. Man, has Bunch looked good to this point. Welcome back in my broadcast partner, Landon Zernhelt.
Thank you for having me.
These past couple weeks, it has really been heating up in Southern Maryland. Temperature right in the mid-90s this afternoon. The 3-out. Odd to see Bunch down in the count. Really hasn't much to this point.
And now the count runs full.
Landon, both pitchers have just been fantastic to this point. The payoff pitch, roped down near the Legends Club out in left field. What do you think has allowed these guys to be so effective on both sides? First starting with Wyatt Bunch.
I mean, it's hard to tell. Because sometimes it could just be he's having a good day, feeling nice today, but it also could be he just got a proper stretch in, a proper pregame meal, hydrated well. There's a lot of factors that can play into his performance each day.
And hydration, huge, especially on a day like today. Well, Lehman works an 8-pitch walk and is aboard first.
Feels like 102 here in Waldorf right now.
Matt Coella, the shortstop. As I mentioned a moment ago, grounded out into that double play in the first inning. And this is what Wyatt Bunch did great last time he pitched against Metro South County. Whenever he was in trouble, was quickly able to work out of it. That's kind of been the story for Senators starting pitching. Line drive just over the head of a jumping Silas Boris. Lehman pulls into third. Runners at the corners for the Grays. Bunch really in a jam here. Michael Lavagna went down on strikes the first time he was up. Two gone in the top of three. A big first pitch strike for Wyatt Bunch. Last start through 5 innings. We'll see how long he's able to go this afternoon. Retired 2 batters to begin the inning before Lehman and Colella reached. Grounder to Guy. Throw to first will be in time to bring an end to the inning. Wyatt Bunch threw 3 clean. Senators due up in a moment. Seven, 8, 9 due up for Southern Maryland. Braden Purser-Eber, the catcher, to lead off the inning. From Connecticut, pegged as the number 9 ranked prospect coming out of the state. Set to attend Middle Tennessee in the fall. On the ground to short. Colella throws across the diamond, 1 gone.
Now batting the first baseman, number 13, C.J. Willis.
Say hello to a guy that has really improved recently for the Senators, C.J. Willis. Was batting .067 prior to a 2-hit game last week. Willis, in his second year of summer collegiate ball, played for the Licking County Settlers, where he held a .270 on-base percentage. The 0-2. Hammered foul. Seems like the Senators batters are at least starting to see the pitches a little better, Landon.
Yes, they've been all over the pitches for the most part. It's just they can't keep them in play. And the ones that are staying in play are just playable by the defense.
Bouncer to Lehman at second. He misplays it. Bang, bang, play. Throw not in time. C.J. Willis reaches on an air from James Lehman.
Now batting the shortstop, number 8, Silas Torres.
Southern Maryland will try to make that air costly. with Silas Boris up to the plate for Southern Maryland. The win over the Crop Dusters. He was 1 of 4 with an RBI. Boris, a guy that is really known for his glove with the Senators.
Very good defender. Can play pretty much anywhere you need him. They've utilized him at short, center field, second.
Sills, seemingly with no problem pitching to contact early, is just fine in the zone with nearly every pitch. Yeah, sort of have come used to how well the Senators pitching is done early in games especially. We'll see if it can hold up on the back end again this afternoon as it did last night. Alex Angelitis came in to relieve Matt Hoover before Avery Thielman was able to record the save. Called strike 3 on the outer half. Boris goes down on strikes. Lineup flips over for Southern Maryland's Logan Tribble up to the dish. Struck out back in the first. And despite it feeling like at times Southern Maryland is really fallen behind the pack, they've found a way to stay close with all these teams for the most part, just a half game back of both the DC Grays and Metro South County Braves. It's really good to see Scott Middleton and his guys battling the way they have. It's going to be tough this afternoon for sure with the way Michael Sills has been able to find the zone. We'll likely be able to provide a pretty lengthy start with the way he's been so far. The 0-2 pitch. Skied out to center. Reed, with all the time in the world, hauls it in to retire the side. First base runner of the afternoon for C.J. Willis. Sills leaves one stranded. And Wyatt Bunch will be back out on the mound for your Senators. Back in a moment from Waldorf.
Number 12, Joey Wilga.
Joey Wilga, perhaps one of the most dangerous hitters in this lineup for the Grays with 2 home runs. and 15 RBIs to his name, batting .230 on the campaign. Singled back in the second. Wyatt Bunch remains in the game for your Senators, following up a great start from Matt Hoover last night with another good outing from Wyatt Bunch to begin the game. Still yet to allow a run through 3 innings. The 2-0 misses inside. Wilga last night was 2 of 4 with a homer. So comes into this game hot for DC. Liner left side. Make it another 2-hit game for Joey Wilga. Yet another leadoff base runner. The third of the game for DC. Sun beaten down in Waldorf. Manoah Chapman lined out to center in the second inning. Bunch has left 3 stranded so far this afternoon. Two last inning and 1 in the second. Another drive to center. Dribble makes the catch. 1 down. Back-to-back lineouts to center for Chapman. Brings up Ellis Reed. Center fielder for DC. Comes up with a man aboard first. Bunch, a guy with the ability to induce the swing and miss. Struck out 6 his last start. Reed struck out back in the second. Ellis Reed has gone down on strikes 25 times this year. That's been one of the struggles for him. Swings through, strike 3. 2 away in the top of 4. Gives way to Brady Steiner. And the last time these two teams played was last Friday, June 28th, where the Senators won it 9-5. That was a big sort of momentum win for Southern Maryland. They tried to take that into South County High School to meet with the Braves. Looked good up until the 6th inning, where Metro South County scored 12 runs. The 1-0 lifted into the parking lot, foul. Steiner grounded out to Guy to end the second. If you'll remember, that was the diving play by number 22. Last meeting prior to that, I'll hold for a second as Mikey Guy will bring an end to the inning. Bunch yet again leaves one stranded in the top of 4. All-star Nathan Brewer up to the plate, and man, has he been good this year, Landon, for Southern Maryland. Struck out the first time he was up this afternoon, batting .337 on the year, and that batting average really hasn't fluctuated this season. It's pretty much stayed right there through nearly every game.
Yes, and Brewer's not just a man who can hit. He can do it in the outfield very well. Multiple plays made in the outfield, but like you stated earlier in the game, he is one of those that Coach Scott can rely on in tough situations when he needs a hit.
Yeah, rarely does this guy make an error in the outfield, partner, and he's just wonderful at the dish. Sky high in foul ground. Sims over, and he will
Miss it.
not be able to make the grab. Right near the Senators' dugout. Had to travel a long ways to make the grab, Landon, but just not quite able to get over in time.
Yes, for the second time today, actually, is he dropped a pop-up right by him.
A wave and a miss for strike 3. The 6K of the afternoon for Michael Sills. Carter Groen blasted a homer yesterday and has got to be the most dangerous guy in the Senators lineup, perhaps the most dangerous bat in the entire league. Leads the Cal in homers with 8. Lifted deep to center. Back is Reed. Catch made near the track. 2 down.
And just, you got to tip your hat to both of these pitchers so far this game who have just been finding the zone, and the hits they've been allowing have been playable by the defense.
Only 2 base runners allowed by Michael Sills. Hit Mikey Guy back in the second before C.J. Willis reached on an error in the third. Guy back up to the plate in his second season with the Senators. And boy, was he good last year. Hit .330 for the Senators a season ago. And was a big part of that playoff run for Southern Maryland. And this feels like it could be a huge turning point in the season this afternoon for Southern Maryland. They're right on the brink, Landon. They just haven't been able to win back-to-back games. And this afternoon would be huge. And as I say that, Michael Sills sets down the 7th strikeout victim today. Gray's bats due up on the other side. Wyatt Bunch back out on the hill for Southern Maryland through 4 scoreless. Brings up Anthony Rucco to lead off the top of 5. Lined out in the 3rd. Grays have left 4 stranded to this point in the game. Rucco, a 188 hitter on the season. Rucco 0 for his last 6 at the plate. Trying to change that this afternoon. And Landon, how about both starters today? They've been super efficient on both sides, both Sills and Bunch.
Yes, it looks like both of them were fully prepared for the game today. The heat does not look like it is taking much toll on either one of these starting pitchers right now. As
Grounder back up the middle. Smolinski gloves it, but won't be able to make the throw. Man,
Tough.
to even get there was quite the feat. A grounder deep in the hole has Anthony Rucco reaching on an infield single. Cameron Sims grounded out to Willis at first. Last time he was up doing the catching duties this afternoon for DC. Squares to bunt. been satisfying to see Bunch pitch as well as he has out of the stretch today with runners on. Ruocco goes from first, and he'll advance 90 feet.
Looks like Purser Eber kind of lost the ball when he was loading his arm back to throw down second.
Sims pulls back a bunt for ball two rather.
These benches are dugouts and bullpens are really getting into the game.
And boy, has Wyatt Bunch been good so far. Has worked out of trouble every time he's experienced it, especially in the third inning where there were runners at the corners. The 2-2. Sims fights it off. Runner in scoring position, no outs in the top of 5. Roller to third. Guy fires across the diamond.
And Mikey Guy is having a day in the infield.
One away in the inning. It's great to see from Mikey Guy, who at times has struggled defensively. Of course, very good with the bat, but recently, boy, has he been on defensively. Made that diving play to retire Steiner back in the second inning. To the top of the order for DC, James Lehman 1 for 1, singled in the first, walked his last time up. Sky high to left field. Brewer under it, catch made, 2 gone. Matt Colella grounded out into a double play back in the first. Singled in the third. And this has been exactly the story for Wyatt Bunch today. His allowed base runners, no doubt about that, but has worked effectively out of the stretch, yet to allow a run. The 1-0 offering. Landon, it seemed like despite some of the losses recently, it has seemed like the trajectory for the team has been going in the positive direction, all told. Those losses have come after they've led in games, so it's at least good to see that they've been able to jump out to early advantages, even if they can't hold it at times. The Senators have held a lot of leads throughout the season, so they've had winning opportunities. Hopefully they can hold on for a win today. Still 0-0.
Yes, most of the time when they have the lead, they are up until, like you said, a majority of the game. They make it to like the 8th inning, up a couple runs, and then it just goes downhill from there a lot of the time.
Consistent relief pitching has kind of been a need for Scott Middleton, but really can't emphasize enough how important that was in the win yesterday. Alex Angelitis came on before handing off to Avery Thielman. Those were the 2 bullpen arms for the Senators. Matt Hoover also made a great start. Fly ball to left. Brewer barely has to move and makes the grab to bring an end to the inning.
The Grays leaving one stranded again.
Bunch, yet again, getting out of trouble. Leaves a runner on second base to bring up the Senators' bats on the other side. Michael Sills, clean through 4 innings, continues his work on the hill in the 5th. To lead off the 5th for Southern Maryland is Owen DeShazo. Struck out back in the 2nd. Playing center field. Stands 6'6". Hitting .297 on the campaign.
That ball's deep to the tracks and caught.
Reed will make the grab out near the warning track to retire the first batter of the inning. DeShazo really got into that one. Just not quite deep enough.
Number 34, Ty Smolinski.
Ty Smolinski flew out to Ruocco in the 2nd inning. We'll get the start at 2nd for Scott Middleton today. We have been fast and furious through 4.5 innings in Waldorf. So glad you can join us on what's been a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Do you think the Heat is playing any part on their bats, Cody?
You certainly got to think so, maybe, right? The pitcher, he's got half an inning to recover sitting in the dugout versus most of these guys, other than the DH, have got to play defensively, then go back to the dugout, grab a bat, and get ready to hit. Still scoreless in this one.
They're certainly chugging some water down there. The dugouts just refilled the cooler for them, and they were lined up as we were setting it down in there to start filling their bottles and cups up.
No doubt it's a hot one today. Temperature sitting in the mid to high 90s. Feels like 102. Lifted in the infield. Lehman calls everyone off and hauls it in for out number 2. Braden Purser-Eber regularly switches off with Nate McHugh for who takes the catching duties day in and day out. It was McHugh yesterday. And so fittingly, Purser-Eber gets the start today. Both starters have done such a good job of finding the zone early. And it's going to lead to long outings for both of them. We'll see if Middleton elects to keep Wyatt Bunch in the game. You got to think Sills will continue after this 5th inning, depending on how it ends.
One thing to note, neither coach has a guy starting to warm up down in the bullpen. It looks like Coach Scott might have a guy getting ready to start.
There was some action in the top of 5 when an early base runner reached. Throw down to first. Will retire the side. How about Michael Sills? Still yet to surrender a hit in this ball game. We're through 5. Keep it here. Wyatt Bunch in his 2nd start of the season goes 5 scoreless and hands it off to Ty Harris. You got to think with how close the game situation is, that's why he took Bunch out. If the Senators had more room for air and more of a lead in this game, then maybe he leaves in Bunch, but tied at 0, you got to try to keep DC scoreless, so he goes to the bullpen to begin the 6th inning. Ty Harris, the 6-foot, 190-pound junior out of Brown University. Last outing he pitched in was against the Alexandria Aces on the road. That was this past Sunday, where he allowed 1 run in 2 innings. Loss ultimately went on his record. Has the 2nd lowest ERA out of the bullpen for the Senators. Holds the .397 earned run average. 15 strikeouts and just 7 walks on the campaign. One of Harris's best pitches is that big curveball. Has thrown 2 innings out of the bullpen 4 times to this point in the year. Would certainly be helpful for manager Scott Middleton if he can get 2 out of his guy this afternoon. The payoff pitch. Lavagna stays alive. He's 0 for 2 to this point. Pitch misses outside, and Lavagna works a walk. Well, less than ideal start for Ty Harris, who walks the first batter he faces. Wilga swinging a hot bat for DC. 2 hits yesterday. 2 for 2 to this point. Harris, when he's gone after batters, has been very successful so far this year. It's been the walks where he struggled. They get the runner at first. And they're going to call a balk on Harris. Scott Middleton will come out and have a chat with the home plate umpire. Scott Middleton trying to get an explanation and perhaps asking the umpires to meet. So there was no doubt that Lavagna was out at first. The balk call erases that and would send him to second. We'll see what the official ruling is. Things will stay as they are. Lavagna at second. No outs in the top of the 6th. Unfortunate for the Senators, Landon. Looked like they might have a huge first out to the inning. None such, and a pass ball certainly won't help matters. Infield.
Now your Senators are in a tough spot.
Infield going to come in with no outs. They'll try to cut down Lavagna at home on anything on the ground. The 1-1 offering. Lifted to shallow right on his Groen. That'll drop in. He's throwing home. Run will score. First to crack the scoreboard in Waldorf are the DC Grays. They go up 1-0. Joey Wilga with a 3-3 afternoon drives in the first run of the game.
It makes you think. That call looks like it might have messed with Ty Harris's head a little bit on that last batter. He thought he picked off the runner at first in time. Umpires called differently. Had a little bit of a wild pitch, advanced him to second, and he got home.
Certainly will have an impact on this game. Run scores for DC in the 6th. The 0-2. Misses away. Landon, you got to love, though, how resilient the Senators have been. Yes, they've lost games here and there, but they've been able to mostly bounce back when they've had rough moments throughout the season. First and second for the DC Grays. And to that tune, there's been 2 walk-off victories for the Senators.
And that was a strikeout.
They're going to call it strike 3. The DC Grays thought they had advanced the runner. Chapman thought he was hit by the pitch. DC Grays head coach will argue the call. We'll see what happens with Wilga. So Wilga will advance up to second base. It was kind of in an odd moment where everyone thought he had walked, so Wilga just walked to second base, and he's there scot-free, but 1 away in the top of 6. A weird moment, no doubt about it.
Well, good job. Good job by the Grays for advancing them without getting on base. Didn't have to steal, waste any energy.
Certainly helpful for DC to have a guy at second with Ellis Reed up. Lifted to the right center field gap. That's going to get down. Groen will field it. Rounding third and scoring is Wilga. 2-0 is the lead for the Grays. Hands it
And
off to Brady Steiner.
Scott Middleton looks like he's starting to warm up. Another pitcher.
Action out in that Senators bullpen. As Purser Eber will go have a chat with Ty Harris. Yet again, just disappointing to see, especially for Wyatt Bunch, who was brilliant this afternoon. 5 scoreless innings. This Grays team seeing the arm of Ty Harris very well. Brady Steiner has grounded out to Mikey Guy twice. If you'll remember, it was that fantastic diving play from Guy that brought an end to the second inning. Perhaps that's all Harris needed, was a quick break in the action, a chance to talk with his catcher. 0-2 to Steiner.
That one was a close call. Still a very nice pitch from Ty Harris.
2-0, the Grays lead it. A big top of the 6th inning for DC. Steiner bounces it off his own foot. This is a big spot for Brady Steiner. Runner at first is Ellis Reed. Runner goes. Pitch in the dirt. Will get over the head of Purser Ebert. Reed forced to stay at second after he slid into the bag. Double play no longer possible for Ty Harris. The payoff pitch, a wave and a miss for strike 3. A big second strikeout of the inning to set down Brady Steiner. Anthony Ruocco singled back in the 5th. Harris.
Most of this game has been flying through, but this is kind of a longer half of an inning here.
A big top of 6 for DC, who's taking a 2-run lead. Ruocco, a 1-for-2 day, singled last time up. Ellis Reed at second. Purser Ebert able to keep it in front. Harris trying to keep the score right where it is. Senators bats when they get their next time to the plate. They really got to try and get something going to give this pitching staff some more confidence.
Yes.
The 3-0. Harris has recorded 2 outs and walks another. Second base on balls of the inning. Scott Middleton will make the walk out to the mound. We'll take a brief pause and be right back with you from Waldorf. Cameron Sims in a big spot for DC. First and second. Sims is grounded out both times up. Reed at second. Ruocco just reached on a walk. Hard on the ground to short. Throw to second. Will be in time to retire the side. Gray's able to put up 2 in the top half of 6. Senators will try to strike back in the bottom half of the inning. We'll be back in a moment. The Grays are the first to score in Waldorf. They lead it 2-0 in the bottom of 6. Michael Sills remains on the hill for the Grays. CJ Willis to lead off the 6 for Southern Maryland. Reached on an air back in the 3rd. The only base runner Sills has allowed to this point. Carrying a no-hitter into the bottom of 6. Boy, has Sills been huge for this DC squad, Landon.
Yes, and the coach for DC still does not have anybody in the bullpen stretching, warming up. That ball is
A shot deep to right
right.
center. Lavagna will have just enough room to retire the first batter of the inning.
the airtime behind that ball definitely made me think it was going out. I don't know about you, Cody. So
Certainly, I
CJ
mean,
definitely got hit under one right there.
just a shot from CJ Willis. And there's been a couple of those this afternoon for Southern Maryland. But just a little too much underneath it in these. Gray's defenders have been able to make the catches. Lifted deep to left. Back at the warning track is Rucco, where he'll haul it in.
Same
2 away.
scenario, opposite side of the field.
Exactly right, Landon. And not that there hasn't been a lot of hard contact to this point for Southern Maryland. It's just happened to be right at guys. Speaking of that, Logan Tribble, last time he was up, had a deep fly ball out to center. A shot way out to left field. That
It is
one's not
gone.
coming back. Logan Tribble with a solo shot in the 6th puts the Senators on the board.
That Senators home run was
How about that, Landon? Boy, is that huge.
Like you said earlier in the game, he's had a hot bat recently and stays hot.
They had started to see Sills well, and it just seemed like a matter of time, as we said in those last couple of at-bats. Hard hit balls, that one unplayable. Brings up Nathan Brewer, who struck out twice. Rare for the left fielder. Reached on a walk yesterday, did Brewer. The first hit Sills surrenders is a solo blast from Logan Tribble. The 0-2. Foul tipped in strike 3.
And the coach for the DC Grays cannot ask for a better day from his starting pitcher. He gave up a home run, but it was a solo shot. You still got the lead. Other than that, he's not even giving up a hit. There's not much you can be mad at him for right now.
Michael Sills through 6 innings. Senators crack the scoreboard off a Logan Tribble home run. 2-1 your score from Southern Maryland. Keep it right here. Back to the top of the order for DC in the 7th. Senators cut the lead down to just one off a big Logan Tribble blast in the bottom of 6. Lehman 1 for 2 to this point. Flew out his last time up. Singled in the first. Ty Harris back out on the mound before allowing 2 runs last inning. Slow roller to second. Smolinski will make the throw, just not in time. Willis able to dig it out of the dirt, but Lehman will reach on an infield single.
And if Ty Smolinski and C.J. Willis would have pulled that off, we might have seen that on Sports Center Top 10 this weekend.
Certainly a tough play for Smolinski, right, Landon? I mean, a slow roller. He had to charge that and just not quite able to make it there in time. Matt Colella, a 1 for 3 day, squares to bunt, pulls back. And what a day for James Lehman. Has been able to reach in 3 of his 4 plate appearances. Has been a super helpful piece for DC.
His coach tells him, be a guy here.
Both teams scored their first runs of the ball game in the 6th. 2 for DC, just 1 for the Senators. An RBI for Wilga before Ellis Reed knocked him home. A shot down the left field line will get down. Hustling is James Lehman. He'll hold at third.
And a stand-up double.
A big 7th inning double for Matt Colella. Still no outs in the inning. Scott Middleton will look out to the bullpen. And a new pitcher coming on for Southern Maryland. We'll tell you more about him in a moment. 2-1, second and third for the Grays. Top of 7. We'll be back in a moment.
Number 16, Michael.
Well, they go from Ty Harris to the man who will join him next season at Brown University and Luke Trout. The 6'1", 180 right-hander comes on in a big spot for the Senators. Has made 5 appearances so far on the year with an 0-2 record. A big wave and a miss from Lavagna. 0 for 2. Walked to begin the rally in the 6th. You like to see this early in the outing from Trout, filling up the zone.
You got the infield in to try to cut off the run at home.
The 1-2 outside. Purser Eber able to keep it in front.
Very nice of Purser Eber to keep that in front of him, to not let any runs get home unattended.
A deep fly ball will score a run. Lehman stands aboard third. Just outside from Trout. No outs in the top of the 7th. Boy, has it been a good game. 2-1 DC. The payoff pitch. And he walked him. Bases loaded for the Grays. Back-to-back walks for Michael Lavagna the last 2 times he's been up.
And this puts the Senators in a very dangerous spot, as they got a 3-for-3 hitter up with bases loaded.
Not the guy you want to see if you're Luke Trout and the Senators. Wilga drove in a run in the 6th. Recorded a hit in all 3 at-bats to this point in the ball game. And absolutely imperative at this point that Purser Eber keep the ball in front of him. Done a good job of it to this point in the game. No action from what I can see out in that Southern Maryland bullpen. Hitter-friendly count to Wilga. A dangerous spot for Luke Trout. And to a bat like Wilga, you can't just leave one over the plate.
No, but you also don't want to walk home a run. Makes it a difficult spot for him because, like you said, you can't hang one over the plate, but you also don't want to walk anybody, so you got to try to change up your pitches.
Wilga stays alive. A game that flew by through the first 5 innings. Sense has become very interesting, Landon. The payoff pitch. Called strike 3 at the knees.
And a very big first out for Luke Trout.
Boy, is that huge for Luke Trout. Brings up Manoah Chapman, who's hitless in 3 trips to the dish. Middle of the infield playing for a double play ball. Corners remain in.
A little motion out manager Scott Middleton's bullpen now, but Luke Trout is starting to find the zone and is really firing.
Line drive into the right center field gap. That'll score at least 2. They'll hold the next runner. 2 score for DC. A 1-out double for Manoah Chapman extends the lead to 3.
Now batting, number 38, Ellis Reed.
Reed, a 1-for-3 game. Singled in the 6th. Infield in. Slow roller, just foul. Keep in mind both of those runs allowed by Trout will be assessed to Ty Harris. The 1-2. Sky deep to left field. Brewer back to the track. He'll bring it in. Throw to third. Not quite in time. Another scores for the Grays. 5-1, they extend their advantage.
And another big inning for the Grays.
And this is exactly what they needed to extend their lead and give some insurance to their bullpen.
Yes, and a big thing we've preached on all season that we are seeing here again today is this bullpen.
You're exactly right, Landon. It's been the troubles in the bullpen. Wyatt Bunch didn't allow a single run, and the pitch gets away from Purser Ebert. Another will come in and score. Make it a 5-run lead for the Grays. It's just disappointing to see that so many games have gotten away from this bullpen throughout the year. A big chance for the first time this season to win 2 straight, right, Landon? And through 5 innings, it looked good. The arms had done what they needed to do. It was time for the bats to come through, and just disappointment since.
Another thing to mention is this not only would have been the first time they won back-to-back games this season, but like said earlier, this would have bumped them up into a playoff spot if they could win tonight.
Still time, no doubt, to cover both in this game and even if a loss this afternoon this season. Just about 10 games remain on the docket. The payoff pitch. Bouncer to Guy at third.
That's a name we've heard a lot today.
Grays go up by 5 in the 7th inning. Senators with the chance to try and turn things around in the 7th. We'll be back in a moment. Why not ride the hot hand? Michael Sills remains in the game. Allowed just one run off a homer in the sixth from Logan Tribble.
Leading off for your Senators, the right fielder, number 3, Carter Rowan.
Threw a no-hitter through 5 2/3 of this ball game did Sills. Slow roller left side. Chapman comes up firing. Throw in time, one gone.
And Carter Groen, who's been hot for a majority of the season, especially these last 2 weeks, has not had the greatest day at the plate today.
Has made some good contact. Had a hard fly out to center in the 4th inning, but still hitless this afternoon. Mikey Guy up, hit by a pitch in the 1st. Struck out back in the 4th, did Guy.
That ball is roped down the 3rd line.
DC Gray's pitching has just been unbelievable this afternoon. Guy foul tips it.
And like I said earlier, I just can't preach this enough. You gotta be a proud coach if you're the DC Grays coach right now with how your starter has played today.
And you had to trust that the bats would come alive at some point. Lifted to right. Hauls it in, 2 down. Two away in the bottom of 7. Owen DeShazo up to the plate. Struck out and flown out so far. Sills through 6 2/3. What a start it's been for him. And just ultimate trust in Sills. Just now getting action up in the Grays bullpen. They'll likely make a pitching change next inning, you would expect. But boy, has it been a quality start. The 2-2. Skied to shallow center. Defenders converging. Second baseman calls them all off and makes the grab to bring an end to the inning. Michael Sills has allowed just one run today on a solo shot from Logan Tribble. 6-1, the Grays lead.
If I'm not mistaken, he's only allowed one hit as well, which is the same homer.
Exactly, just one hit on the afternoon for Michael Sills. What a start from him. Headed to the bottom of the 8th. Luke Trout back out on the mound. Only had the one run allowed accredited to his name last inning. Overall, 4 scored in the top of 7. The only inning since the first, the Grays didn't leave anyone on. Their lead is 5 in the 8th inning. And yet again, it's just the Senators. They seem recently to have played well. Even today, it seemed like a good game overall. Even when there were moments of lapses on the pitching side, it didn't feel like it was ever out of control. DC scores those 6 runs that they have so far, but it never really felt like the Senators were doing terrible. Like, they've played well. It just has slowly slipped out of their hands, it's felt like this afternoon.
Yes, it's just. I mean, you can't really be mad with the performance of the pitching. It's very hot out here. The humid feels like over 100, but at some point, Coach Scott is gonna find his guy out of the bullpen who's just gonna come in and strike.
And there's been a couple guys, right, that have been pretty consistent, especially recently. Last night, Avery Thielman was great. In his last appearance, Thielman also pitched very well, which was against the Bethesda Big Train. The win over them last week. That was on Monday, where Thielman threw 2 1/3. Also, Davis Rivers, one of those guys that has been heavily relied upon out of the bullpen. But you got to realize those guys, they can't pitch every day. And so Scott Middleton has gone to a number of different arms. Ty Harris has been pretty good, but it's just so much to expect to want day in and day out production out of these guys. Luke Trout working well in the 8th, has struck out the first 2 batters he's faced.
Now batting, number 45, James Lehman.
James Lehman back up to the plate.
What a start to the inning so far for Luke Trout.
Yeah, despite the pitching struggles out of the bullpen so far in the game for the Senators, Luke Trout this inning has just been going after him. Grounder to Smolinski at second. Tosses to Willis to retire the side. 1, 2, 3 they go for Luke Trout in the top of 8. Turns it over to his bats on the other side. Senators trail by 5 in the bottom of 8. Sam Mosman back out on the bump for DC. To this point, the DC pitching has just been unbelievable, Landon. A 7-inning start from Michael Sills where he allowed just 1 hit. How'd you assess his performance?
I'd give it an A- grade. You can't give it a fully A+, 100% because he did give up the 1 run, but from what I've seen, there would be no disappointment whatsoever with me as the coach.
Pretty unbelievable what he was able to do. 7 innings, a rarity to see in the Cal Ripken League. And allowed just the 1 homer off the bat of Logan Tribble. Ty Smolinski up to the dish for Southern Maryland. He's flown out twice. And this has kind of been the story of the season so far, Landon. Senators have been tight in a lot of games, but just slowly let them slip away, as has happened this afternoon. Early it was 0-0 headed into the 6th. DC scored 2. A deep shot to right. Lavagna back. Catch made, 1 gone. Senators came back with a big homer in the 6th from Logan Tribble before a 4-run 7th kind of blew things open for DC.
And you got to feel for your Senators here. It's so hard to just hit off a pitcher who comes in and is feeling that good. Having himself a day like that, you can't blame your Senators for not hitting the ball because they were making contact. They were getting hits. They were just getting good defense played behind them.
Sam Mosman, the pitcher into the game for the Grays, has made only 1 appearance out of the pen for DC. Allowed 4 earned and retired just 3 batters back on July 1st against the Crop Dusters. High fly ball. Lavagna barely asked to move. Hauls it in for out number 2. Mosman comes in and retires the first 2 batters he faces.
Now batting the first baseman, number 13,
CJ Willis had a shot out to right, which was ultimately caught by Lavagna in the 6th. Reached on an error in the 3rd. Offensive chances have been few and far in between for the Senators. Have left just 1 base runner on.
Big swing and a miss from C.J. Willis.
Huge to have Mosman come in this spot where you got a big lead. He struggled in his first appearance on the season. Get him in an advantageous spot, and he's been good so far.
A good chance to let him build his confidence. Get comfortable on the mound.
The 2-2 pitch. Willis able to take. And he works a walk. Apologies. CJ Willis reaches for the second time today. Silas Boris up. Struck out in the third. Flew out to left, back in the sixth. Lifted to right. That's going to get down. Boris on his horse. Pulls into second. Willis at third.
And there's some light at the end of the tunnel for your Southern Maryland Senators.
A big opportunity for Logan Tribble, who homered in the sixth inning. A guy who's been hot as of late. 2 of 5 last time he played. Big swing at strike number 1. At second is Boris. Just 90 feet away stands CJ Willis. A shot to left. Rucco able to haul it in to retire the side. Mosman gets out of a little trouble in the bottom of 8. One last chance at the plate for DC.
And some loving going on between your two teams as Tribble and the second baseman give each other a hug after the catch.
Back in a moment from Waldorf. Matt Colella to lead off the top of the 9th for DC. Glad to have you with us. Cody Wagner alongside Landon Zernheld up in the booth. A sunny day from Regency Furniture. Temperature sitting in the mid-90s. Feels like 102. Lifted high to shallow left. Back is the shortstop Boris. Catch made. 1 gone. Well, a good start to the inning for Luke Trout, who's through 2 1/3. Brings up Michael Lavagna. 0 for 2 on the day to this point. Has walked twice. Hard grounder up the middle. Boris gloves it. Throw to first. Willis has to jump up but comes back down on the bag to retire the second batter of the inning.
What a play, CJ Willis, to get back down in time and get his foot on the bag.
And how about Luke Trout? He allowed 4 runs to score in the 7th. Just one of those were to his name. but since then has been wonderful for the Senators. Struck out 2 in the 8th and has set down the last 7 batters he's faced. The 1-0. Landed in to take some positives away from this game. Wyatt Bunch was really phenomenal as the starter this afternoon. Threw 5 innings, didn't allow a run, struck out 3 batters, and the key to success for him today was pitching to contact and allowing his guys behind him to get the job done.
He did a very good job of that.
Joey Wilga is 3 for 4 so far. And he works a walk. Apologies, that's Elias Owens who came into the game for him and is able to reach first.
Now batting, number 31, Manoah Chapman.
Manoah Chapman to the plate. A 1 for 4 day sees him to the dish in the 9th inning. A deep shot to left field. No
And that's
doubt
gone.
about it. Chapman with a blast onto the home run porch extends the lead to 7. Boy, did Chapman get into that one.
Yes.
Now batting, number 38, Ellis Reed.
Ellis Reed in for his 5th AB. Struck out twice, singled in the 6th. 8-1, the Grays just extending their lead. Purser Eber will go out and have a chat with Luke Trout. We'll take a quick pause and be right back with you from Regency Furniture. Glad to be back from Waldorf. Ellis Reed remains at the plate. Hard hit on the ground, left side will get through the hole. A 2-out base hit for the center fielder Reed. Extends the inning and brings up Brady Steiner. 0 of 4 on the game so far. Trout retired the first 2 batters he faced. Ever since, it's been a big inning for the Grays. The 2-run homer for Manoah Chapman extended the lead to 7 for DC. Gray's first base coach, shouts out to Steinert, have a good AB. Despite the lead, still be positive to get some experience. Boris throws to first to bring an end to the inning. Luke Trout allows 2 to score in the 9th inning off a big homer from Manoah Chapman. Back in a moment from Waldorf. Senators with one last chance at the dish. Bottom of 9, Sam Mosman remains in to try to close out the game for DC. Leading off the inning for Southern Maryland is Nate Brewer, has struck out 3 times to this point on the day. Odd to see for him, who's normally one of the more reliable guys for Scott Middleton, as we had said earlier in the game. Brewer with the 2nd highest average on the team. Hard grounder to short. Colella throws across the diamond. 1 gone. The replacement for Carter Groen is Rowan Putz. Groen was hitless to this point in the game. An 0 for 3 day. So Scott Middleton goes to Putz off of the bench. Came on in the 8th as the defensive replacement. And a positive outing for Sam Mosman to this point. Last time he was out, allowed 4 runs and recorded just 3 outs. Still yet to allow a run this afternoon. Left 2 stranded in the 8th inning. The 1-2 down in the dirt. Positive to see these Senators players still fighting in these at-bats late in the game, despite the 7-run lead for DC. Lifted to shallow center. On his read, who makes the diving catch. What a play. Misread it originally, but more than made up for it with the diving play. Mikey Guy with his 4th opportunity at the dish. Hit by a pitch in the 2nd. Has been retired twice since. Sam Mosman has been pretty effective at pitching to contact.
Yes, his
Liner to
stats
center.
before the game, before he came in, were a little worried, but this is good to build his confidence going in to the rest of the season.
And that's the ball game, folks. The DC Grays, your winners from Waldorf. The Senators fall just short. A tied ball game through 5. Grays score 2 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, 2 in the 9th, and go on to win it 8-1. So glad you could join us from Regency Furniture Field, Stadium rather. For that, we say so long. Cody Wagner and my partner, Landon Zernhout, so glad you can join us on what's a beautiful Saturday in Waldorf. 8-1 the final. We'll be with you tomorrow for Senators and Thunderbolts.